Hey guys, we're doing another video here. I know this room looks a little dark. I'm kind of experimenting with different aesthetics, trying to use natural lighting from the window um, to see what's most effective as far as lighting goes, but we'll see what people like. But anyway, welcome back to Honesty Compels Me. So today I'd like to share a story from the game of baseball if I could. We're going to talk about Willie Mays, the late great Willie Mays, and his rookie year in the major leagues. So you've probably heard of Willie Mays, even if you're not a baseball fan, because he was one of the greatest of all time. In fact, you could argue he was the greatest all around player of all time. But, he had to start somewhere, so he made his major league debut in 1951 with the New York Giants, who were managed by Leo Durocher. Now, Willie Mays was only 20 years old when he made his major league debut, and if you know anything about Willie Mays, you know that he always had kind of a sensitive personality, let's just say. Like, he wasn't a very outspoken guy, he wasn't a very vocal guy. Like, he was just kind of a guy who wanted to play baseball, and he was great at it, of course. But some people criticized Mays for not being more of a leader in certain ways and on various things. But anyway, that's another story. But my point is, Willie Mays wasn't a super competent guy by nature. He was very sensitive, and so anyway, Willie Mays started the 1951 season in the minor leagues with Minneapolis, and they were a farm team for the New York Giants. Now, in the minors, he was absolutely tearing it up. Through May, he was hitting 477 for his batting average. I mean, that's, if you know baseball, that's an absolutely insane batting average. That's like otherworldly. Like, nobody hits 477, but he was doing it for the first 2 months of the season. So naturally, you would imagine that the Giants wanted to call him up to the majors, which they did. So Leo Durocher, this is what Willie Mays said, because I've read a lot of baseball books, and I remember Mays said that Durocher called him up and said, we want to promote you to the big leagues. And he told him, I don't know if I'm ready for the big leagues. I want to stay here in Minneapolis because I guess Minneapolis isn't a huge city. And he felt more at home in the minor leagues because it was less pressure. It was a smaller town. It wasn't too intimidating for him. But I remember he said that Durocher got angered him. He was like, what the hell do you mean you're not going to come to New York? We need you up here and all this. But eventually, Durocher talked to him and convinced him to come up to the Giants. So Willie Mays, he came to New York and joined the Giants, and it did not go very well at first. In fact, Willie Mays started out his career going 1 for 26. That's one hit and 26 at bats, which obviously is pretty bad. So, Willie Mays, 20-year-old kid, had a sensitive personality. One day during this bad start, Leo Durocher came into the locker room and he found Willie Mays just sitting there crying. And according to the story, like, Leo Durocher sat down to him and Willie Mays said, I just don't think I can play here. I don't think I have what it takes in the major leagues. He was just crying because he felt like he was letting the team down. He wasn't cutting it and he didn't have what it took. And I remember reading Leo Durocher's account of this, and he said, as a manager, you have to be a psychologist. You have to understand that players are different and that it's going to take something different to get results from them. So some players, if you want the best out of them, you got to be tough on them, you got to ride them, you got to push them, and that'll get the best out of them. But some players, he said, you have to baby them a little bit. They need more patience, they need more reassurance, they need more comfort. So Willie Mays fell into that category. He needed some babying, as Durocher put it. So he just sat down and he told him, look, it's okay. You're doing fine. You're not hitting yet, but you will eventually. Right now, just focus on playing center field and doing the best you can. And, he just let him know, we got your back. We know you have what it takes. So we're not upset with you or disappointed in you. So what do you think happened? Well, Willie Mays, he eventually started hitting. He eventually broke out of his slump, and he went on to win Rookie of the Year that year. And the Giants also won the pennant, so that was great too. So why am I telling this story? I'm telling this story because I feel like nowadays it's overlooked that some people do need a little more support. And that doesn't make them inferior, it doesn't make them weak, it just means they need more support and their aptitudes are different. I remember there was this YouTuber I used to watch who talked about this once. He said, there's some people who see a guy who's not succeeding and they just say, well, he just needs a good kick in the butt and that'll fix him. Sorry, I hit my thing there. But anyway, he was saying, no, sometimes a kick in the butt is not what people need. What they need is guidance. They need support. They need people to show them what to do. And I agree with that, because I've been told by some people that I really just need a good kick in the butt. But, giving somebody a kick in the butt when they don't know what to do is just kind of kicking them when they're down, And I think the reason for this is because people have different natural aptitudes. They have different natural instincts about how to do things. Like, for some people, they're going to pick up something instantly, whereas other people, you really have to show it to them and you really have to explain it to them if they're ever going to get it. And, it just differs by the person, depending on what their natural gifts are. So, I've encountered a lot of people like that in my life, people who just, they treat you like you're an idiot if you don't know how to do something. And those kind of people very much get under my skin, because it's like, I don't like being treated like I'm an idiot, and I don't think anybody does. So when they act like you're stupid just because you don't know something that you were never taught, it's like, what do you want from me? I only know what I've been taught, or I only know what I've been able to figure out on my own. And some people just don't figure certain things out on their own. They have to really get it from somewhere else. I've learned a lot from other people's experience. I've learned a lot from other people telling them. On YouTube, I've learned a lot from other people explaining things to me, stuff that I never would have thought of on my own. Does that mean I'm weak? Does that mean I'm bad? Does that mean I'm inferior? I don't think so. It just means I don't have a natural instinct for some things. And I'm glad there are people who have those instincts, because they can pass on their knowledge to others. So, I would go back to our story with Willie Mays. Leo Durocher could have walked into that locker room. He could have seen him crying, and he said, hey, kid, this is the big leagues. Buck up. He could have said that to him. But what would have happened? Would Willie Mays have eventually bucked up and started hitting, or would he have just lost all confidence in himself and maybe never become the star he became? It's possible. It's possible that without Leo Durocher being patient with him, we never would have had the great career of Willie Mays. And, somebody might say, well, come on, this is Willie Mays. This guy had talent that was maybe once in a generation, but, eventually he would have gotten his act together. He would have figured out how to hit. He would have found his comfort zone. And it's true. Maybe he would have. We just don't know. It's one of history's great hypotheticals. But, the fact is, athletes are human beings. They aren't just robots who play sports that have some sort of inborn, function that results in a certain amount of output. I don't know what type of analogy I'm using here, but anyway, I think you know what I'm saying. You have to realize that, people are people. They have a psychological makeup. There's a mental, emotional dimension to all this as well, and you have to be able to understand that if you want to get the best out of them. So this idea that everyone just needs a kick in the butt and that'll help them, that's not true. How many people out there have never reached their potential because nobody gave them the support they needed? How many people, have been mocked for failing when they really just didn't know what they were supposed to do? Some people will figure it out themselves. Some people won't. So I guess all I'm trying to say with this video is be patient with people. Like if you can see that somebody really just doesn't know what they're doing, just be patient with them. Like, sometimes you might find that you actually do get the best out of them. Sometimes you get somebody who ends up being really great at it just because somebody took the time to help him build his confidence. I've benefited from that myself, from people being patient with me, and I'm sure there have many others who have too. So yeah, I guess that's my basic point, and just a call for a little more support and guidance and compassion for others. All right, talk to you later.